afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Mowat. I'm a clairvoyant psychic and a contactee, and I'd like to discuss with you how changing your vibrational frequency and how when you begin to actually change your frequency, how it actually affects what type of beings are interacting with you, as well as what beings begin to actually have you on what I would say is their radar. So, what I noticed in 2014, when I started to have a lot of contact with different types of beings, in particular things from Arcturians to Andromedans to Reptilians to Pleiadians, that the type of beings I was interacting with seemed to really go in clusters. So, in the beginning of the year, I noticed more of my contact was more focused towards Arcturians, like Danny, how beings that are more white in appearance, they're bipedal, quite thin, very delicate features in a lot of ways. In particular, because my vibration was more in this curious type state, it was very much the wanting to learn and explore and discover new things associated with different energies that I had been interacting with and playing with. And then, as that year progressed and my interest started to shift from more of a focus on primarily psychic abilities and energy work over towards more of an energetic healing and more of a, not curious, but just trying to have a deeper understanding of what's going on, yet slightly reluctant to do so, that is when I started to notice more of the Andromedans coming in, or even beings like my little brown guy, or Phoebe. Now, what's interesting is, in the end section of 2013, the majority of my contact was more focused on things like being on school and craft. However, when I started to have a bunch of different types of beings coming to see me for the first 2/3 of 2014, it was really overwhelming for me, and I felt as though the amount of contact I was having was something that I would go to bed at night and I would kind of dread it because I was tired and I was dealing with my family in the daytime. I was trying to work and visit my parents and deal with a deceased loved one that had crossed over and everything else, that I found my energy level actually diminished. So at the beginning of the year, I was quite vibrant and very happy and had a lot of energy to, like, if one of my friends needed me to send them energy, they'd send me a text message saying, "Hey Sam, do you mind sending me some energy? I'm feeling off." Oh, it's raining. So for me that was easier at the beginning of the year, but as the year progressed and I started to have a lot of contact going on, I found that it got to a couple points where it was just too much for me. And so I would say things like, "Okay, guys, can you just not visit me tonight? Don't take me when I'm astral projecting. Don't make it so that I'm going to come see everyone. I want a break." And sometimes the beings would be respectful of that, and other times it wasn't necessarily the case. Now, what I noticed towards the next section of my year, September, October, November, into the end of December, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to check back into my diary notes, but I had a lot of clusters of reptilian contact at that time. And if the lens seems to be a little bit spotty from raindrops, I do apologize. It is lightly misting now. So what had happened was, after countdown to contact had happened, I had a lot of really odd encounters that threw me off, things that weren't familiar in my contact experience, my contact history. And I was encountering beings that were putting on a whole new level of facade that was amplified compared to what I had been exposed to previously. So what happened was, shortly after I had my first reptilian encounter, over the next month I had about four of them, I believe. And what had thrown me off by this was my second reptilian encounter was kind of weird. I had just learned, okay, so this is what reptilian energy feels like. It feels calculating, it feels very intelligent, like it's a type of energy that's aware of what's going on in its surroundings. It's analyzing, okay, what are your strengths? What are your capabilities? If I do this, what is your reaction going to be? And they have a very methodical energy that really calculates and gets to know you on a very rapid level. I've also noticed that they're a very telepathic species, but in a slightly invasive, almost probing way. And for those of you who do have more reptilian DNA too, I'm not trying to be offensive by any way, but that is how I perceive them from my point of awareness. And with my second encounter, what I really noticed about it was I found myself astral projected, and I was sitting in this living room, and I was talking on a phone. And what was interesting about this was I was talking on the phone to two women. And at the time, I hadn't really done conference calls or anything, so I didn't have a strong understanding of the dynamics of that. And while I was talking to these two women, I got a very strong surge of, okay, so this is more what the feminine reptilian energy feels like. It differed from the first one that I encountered because his energy had a very warrior class. It had a soldier type energy. It had the energy of someone who was often focusing on tasks or had a particular job in mind, and that is how he would go about his day-to-day. Is he would go do whatever it is he was meant to accomplish and didn't have a lot of creativity or really, he was more of a strategic planner, is how I described the first reptilian I encountered. Someone who observes, and it was more strategy oriented. But these two females that I encountered, they were completely different. They were very aware of myself and very aware of what I was doing. They were gauging my energy and trying to read my energy. Now, on the same hand that they were talking to me, it was kind of odd because I don't remember what we were talking about. It was kind of odd for us to be talking on the phone. I remember thinking, well, why am I feeling ET energy and talking on the phone? This doesn't make sense to me. But as I was feeling their energy, I was able to distinguish two different things around this. The first woman I was talking to felt younger than the second one. She felt as though she was carrying a child. She felt as though there was life essence growing within her. Yet, where many human women tend to have this perception and energy of love and focus and a very strong nurturing bond towards the child in which they're growing, hers felt more dutiful, as though it was a duty or something she was expected to do and something that she had always planned to do, although it was not really something she was looking forward to any more than, say, I hate to say paying your taxes, but it kind of felt something along those lines. Now, the other female that I had felt different again. Yes, she did feel older than the first one. She was not carrying children, but it felt as though she was trying to get an awareness of who I was and what it is I was capable of doing and what it is she was, how I interacted with them. Because it felt like they're giving me a trickle of their energy and allowing for me to read a slight bit into who they are and what they were capable of. And when I woke up the next morning and I had projected back into my body, I sat there in bed and I thought, okay, well, this is odd. Why am I encountering these beings? I heard from other people that these beings were supposed to be hostile, that they're supposed to be quite rude and what have you. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of my past life memories coming into association with things I had encountered with them in previous incarnations. All I had to go on was my encounter that I had before that, so that was kind of a gauge for me, as well as the encounters that other people had expressed. And I was very grateful for them sharing what they've encountered. However, it did create some confusion and a bit of fear base within me. And I'd like for you to take into account, when you're looking at any extraterrestrial group or any multidimensional group, you cannot paint them with one brush. You really can't. You can no more say that all Pleiadians are good or all reptilians are bad than you can say all people with brown eyes like chocolate cake or all whatever, something ridiculous along those lines. You can't really make those racist, and I'm sorry, but it is racist remarks or racist points of awareness and perception. These beings have as much versatility and personal thought as we do. Although some do operate with a slight or more inclined hive consciousness, where they are more interconnected to what is beneficial for the all, rather than more of an individual mindset. I have found that they do contain their own personalities and their own objectives and agendas. And so as you go about your own encounters, it is easiest if you actually write out the beings, how you felt about the encounter, where you felt that encounter was leading you, and what you were hoping to accomplish and what they were hoping to accomplish. Because if you write down as much information as possible from what you recall, then you're better able to get an idea of everyone's objective. And that is a really big thing. And I know it may not seem like it, but when you start to look at the objectives of the different beings that you encounter within each race, you begin to see the versatility in which is found within the races. Well, it has been lovely talking to you, and I will talk to you soon. Peace, love, and light. Bye.